After joining the dating show, I tore the scumbags apart. I was an 18th tier nobody in the entertainment industry. My manager, seeing no better use for me, tossed me into a dating reality show as the contrast group. But what she didn't know was, my contract was ending in 2 days. So, the entire internet got a front row seat to my glorious descent into chaos. Grayson Ross, the movie king, commented, "Young ladies shouldn't wear skirts that short. It's not ladylike." I replied, "I'll wear them as short as I want. And I'll wear even shorter ones later. Anyone staring at me is a dog." Top idol, with makeup that heavy, who are you trying to seduce? Me, and you? So greasy at such a young age. I wear makeup to get closer to beautiful women, not to give spring horny fools like you material for daydreams. Back then, a talent scout tricked me, took advantage of my naivety and signed me into a 1:9 contract, throwing me into the industry as fast food for fame. Luckily, I was never ambitious. I wasn't into money or power. Unlike my peers who got swept up and soiled by this murky world, I didn't become some rich guy's plaything. But my manager couldn't stand how idle I was. She decided to squeeze out the last bit of use from me, bundling up all the useless, small-time celebs like me and shipping us off to various variety shows as cannon fodder, to make the company's top stars shine brighter by comparison. Unfortunately, I was assigned to a dating show to be the foil for Nora Reid, the company's rising sweetheart. Before I left, my manager even warned me to play dumb, and if she caught me slipping, I'd be benched for good. But she forgot, I was just a kid on a fast food contract. And that contract? About to expire. I counted the days. Just a few more. So I smiled sweetly, waved at her, and said, "I totally get it, Sis Linda. Don't worry, Sis Linda. I got this, Sis Linda." I was so obedient and gentle, completely unlike my usual self. But Sis Linda thought I was finally under her thumb and left quite pleased with herself. And then, "Hey, carry my suitcase." Nora stood there with her nose in the air, barking orders. "Bring it to my room. And don't let it touch the ground. Inside I've got." Thud. A loud thump landed at my feet as I kicked whatever blocked my path out of the way without even blinking. Slinging my backpack over one shoulder, I strode into the house without a glance back. Nora's shrieks of outrage trailed behind me. I didn't even bother to look. Let her yell. It's not like I care. In fact, I felt a strange rush of excitement, like a monkey on Mount May spotting tourists. No more contract? Fantastic. Let's see who can stop me now. Insert unhinged smile. The moment I walked through the door, I ordered 3 bubble teas for myself and sat down munching on some peach crisps I'd brought from home. Everyone else in the house stared at me in disbelief. The male guests, in particular, frowned as if I were some bizarre creature. "Hungry?" I asked, noticing their stares. "Here, have some." I generously offered the rest of my snacks around. The female guests all declined politely, whispering that they weren't eating. The male guests, though, helped themselves eagerly, some even asked me where I got them. I knew it was just small talk, but out of politeness, I still sent them the link. When one of them saw the app, his face turned green. "You're feeding me that platform snacks?" That disgusted expression, I couldn't stand it. What, did the platform murder his whole family? Is he going to die just from eating something off that app? Seeing his dark expression, I didn't bother to be nice. I snatched back the snack and tossed it straight into the trash. "Who said it was for you anyway? You grabbed it like you starved to death in your past life." When it came to snark, no one in that room could match me, even if the 8 of them ganged up together. He was so stunned, he couldn't even form a rebuttal. That's when a petite female guest across from me tried to chime in, "You shouldn't offer food so casually. Who knows what's in it? We all have entire teams depending on us. One bite of a bad cookie could bring everything down." Reasonable, on the surface, but dripping with condescension. And to think the gossip sites call her, the wholesome darling of the entertainment world. A grounded, relatable national sweetheart? Please. That's the national sweetheart? I rolled my eyes and pulled up my sleeves. Time to fight. "Oh, you're absolutely right. You shouldn't need any of this. I shouldn't have offered it to you. I mean, someone like you probably only drinks water imported from Southeast Asia, eats food flown in from the Pacific coast, and breathes exclusive Midwestern American air, right? Clearly, you're on a whole other level." Everyone froze. No one had ever heard anyone get roasted so weirdly. There wasn't a single curse word, but something about it just felt wrong. It wasn't until I reached my room, dragging my suitcase behind me, that one of the guests finally broke the silence. "Damn, did you hear that? She basically said you drink Ganges water, eat radioactive sushi, and breathe in American smog. How is her brain that fast? She's insane." That guy kept mumbling, while the girl I roasted had a face blacker than the bottom of a pot. From that moment, I was officially at war with the high and mighty stars of this show. Naturally, the livestream audience didn't take it well. Poor girl, her hands are all red, and all that effort went to waste. Katie should just die. God, I hate attention-seeking bitches like her. Die, die, die. She's awful. Sounds like she's been bullying others since the moment she joined the show. Is no one going to stop her? She's pure evil. Protests erupted across the chat. Some viewers even dug up my identity as a zealous nobody and started flaming me for being ungrateful, saying I had no right to even be on the show. The other female guests, whether genuine or not, all pulled long faces. Especially the one who had just been about to flip the meat with a spatula. Her eyes turned red. The cameras zoomed in for a close-up. Meanwhile, the viewers in the live stream went berserk. I knew what was happening. The production team was stirring up drama, and the female guests were playing along. But if it's a game of drama, well, bring it on. Who's scared? With a crooked grin, I turned and let loose. I don't even eat breakfast, but even if I did, I wouldn't want to join your little murder club. Who were you planning to poison? Vinegar in the meat? Cooking it in Sichuan pepper oil? What, afraid it wasn't toxic enough? And what's worse, you didn't even turn on the vent. What now? Planning to inhale it all yourselves? Well, go on. Breathe it in with all your might. I'm telling you, the studio didn't need to install such fancy exhaust systems. Just toss two of you in the kitchen every time and let you sniff it all up yourselves. Hell, one might be enough. My tongue was like a chili pepper soaked in mustard oil. Whoever crossed me got burned. No one in the room was spared. Even the cameraman who was getting a little too close to my face, I didn't bother warning him about the stool at his feet. The live stream froze in stunned silence. Moments ago, fans were sobbing over their idols not getting a homemade breakfast. Now? Dead quiet. Not a peep. Because honestly, pepper oil, fried sour meat? No one could stomach that. Then came Grayson Ross, ever the gentleman hero. Seeing my roasting session end, he immediately swooped in to steal the spotlight. With a tender smile, he turned to me and said, I knew girls wouldn't be able to manage. It's okay, really. Let me handle this. I'm more familiar with the kitchen. Cue gasps of admiration from the female guests. The livestream chat exploded with heart emojis. Wow. A true gentleman, they gushed. And then this so-called perfect man made a pot of plain white rice porridge. Nothing added. No seasoning. No toppings. Just rice. I burst out laughing on the spot and shamelessly pulled out my phone to order delivery. Hearing your speech was like, well, hearing your speech. Look at you all, falling for a guy's empty promises like it's 1920. What, your phone's broken? Ordering food is embarrassing now? Or do you think delivery apps vanish in daylight? 6 pans, a kitchen full of steam, and this is what you end up with? Undercooked porridge? I'm dying. I'm literally dying. Ha ha ha, gag. I mocked them mercilessly. They were so humiliated, they couldn't even look at each other. One of the girls actually burst into tears. She whipped out her phone and ordered a luxury hotel breakfast, with a private butler delivering it in a Bentley. Talk about a slap in the face. Grayson's face darkened. He didn't even touch his porridge, watching helplessly as the women who once admired him gorged on every kind of gourmet dish imaginable, right in front of him. Even Lucy, who used to be his little echo chamber, quietly munched on pizza and sipped cappuccino. Still, Grayson wasn't one to give up so easily. He took a deep breath, rearranged his expression into a look of melancholic remorse, and said to us, this group of unapologetically feasting women, under the bright camera lights, ah, it's my fault. I really am useless. I thought I'd get to taste your lovely cooking today, but I lost my cool first. That was wrong of me. My mother's always been the one to take care of things at home. I really don't know much about kitchens. If I've caused trouble for anyone, please, forgive me. A wise man once said, when choosing a wife, choose a virtuous one. The ancients never lied. He looked so sincerely regretful, his chiseled, sorrowful face glowing angelically in the morning sun. And just like that, none of the female guests dared to eat anymore. These sluts only know how to eat. Can't cook, can't clean, who'd marry them? Can't count on them for chores or dinner. And then they dare ask for $50,000 dowries? What are they good for? Looking pretty? Grayson's right. These princess types don't even dip their fingers in dishwater. What do they know about real life? Excuse me? Your perfect man couldn't even cook his porridge right. That's the one you want us to marry? Undercooked porridge and still off limits for criticism? Please. My girl Katie's not putting up with this. The livestream comment section exploded. Fans clashed and bickered, and the show's popularity skyrocketed. The director laughed so hard he looked like the Buddha himself. His grin never left his face. Only the script coordinator looked worried. This isn't great, is it? That girl Katie is like a machine gun, doesn't shut up. Shouldn't we rein her in? Hey, zip it. The director shot her a look. I know your cousin's on the show, but come on, Katie's boosting our traffic like crazy. She's a goldmine. Don't go tossing away a watermelon for a sesame seed. No one's allowed to stop her. Let her rant. Whether this show takes off or not, it's all riding on her mouth. While the crew was busy scheming, the guests in the house had started whispering too. Of course, very few dared to speak honestly in this house. Even though the female guests all knew Grayson's words carried barbs aimed straight at them, they chose to bite their tongues. After all, with his status and their own fragile careers, it was smarter to endure. But me? I didn't give a damn. I was done with the industry. So anyone who came at me? I'd tear them apart. I turned to him and fired right back, completely unfiltered. You're right. You really are useless. Chewing on my braised pork bun, I looked at him earnestly. You're nearly 40 and still need your mom to handle your chores. Your poor mother. She probably thought once you grew up she could finally catch a break. And now look at her, so old she trembles when she walks, but still stuck mopping your floors and cooking your meals. If that's not useless, what is? Grayson looked like he was ready to fire back, but I didn't give him the chance. Everyone loves to quote, marry a virtuous wife. But that only works if the man is actually worth marrying. And you? Acting all high and mighty, sneaking off the moment someone enters the kitchen just so you can splash water on your head and fake a post-run glow. You don't even chop veggies. You don't set the table. All you do is claim you're not familiar with the kitchen to gaslight women. No wonder a guy your age still needs a reality show just to get a date. I shrugged, closed my eyes, and waved my hand like I was in a soap opera. Marry a virtuous wife, oh please. Grayson. Livestream chat. Then. Ha ha ha. Nora couldn't hold it in. She spat a mouthful of soy milk all over the guy sitting opposite her, face beet red with laughter. Her giggle set off the rest. Soon, the other girls were laughing too. One didn't even bother hiding her disgust. She imitated me, closing her eyes and spreading her hands like a preacher. Marry a virtuous wife, please. A dog like him thinks he deserves one. Who knows? But he certainly thinks so. And just like that, the morning ended in a full-blown victory for Team Snarky Sisters. I was satisfied. My manager was furious. She'd been watching the show too and immediately sensed something was off. One look at my contract, and she realized what I was up to. She called me right away, ready to scream threats into my ear. Did I pick up? Of course I did. But not to quietly take her abuse. I hit record the moment I answered. I planned to save every word she yelled, for a lawsuit, perhaps. That hag had no real talent for management, but she was a master at manipulation. None of her artists could get along because she constantly pitted them against each other, sowing paranoia until no one trusted anyone, except her. She'd cozy up to one, flatter another, and eventually deliver them neatly to some powerful man's bed. Never failed. Except with me. She'd hated me from the beginning. I was slippery, uncooperative, and completely resistant to her usual tricks. She couldn't control me. That's why she wanted me gone. Otherwise, with this face? I'd have been famous ages ago. Still, watching her show up at the studio just to yell at the crew, and fail, I felt so damn good. I even stuck out my tongue and threw her a peace sign. She looked like she was one stress spike away from popping a blood vessel. Just shoot well. I'll handle the rest, the director told me cheerfully. Now that I'd drawn in massive traffic, he was all smiles and sweetness. Whatever I wanted, I got. Of course I knew he was only being nice because I was a one-woman roast machine. But I felt no guilt. I chilled out on set like a queen. If they asked me to interact, I did. But smile sincerely? Show anything but snark? Never happening. Still, some people refused to believe I wasn't secretly flirting. They were convinced I was playing hard to get. So, one day, the crew took us to an amusement park. The task, complete 7 check-in points and pose like a couple at each symbolic sculpture. Everyone was fired up. The couples with budding romance vibes exchanged shy glances and blushed like high schoolers. Me? I had zero interest. I didn't come to fall in love. Unfortunately, my disinterest didn't stop someone from trying to drag me in. While I was touching up my powder, a male guest walked out from his group, flashed me a wide grin, and said, "What, you started fixing your makeup the moment you saw me? You that eager to team up with me?" He paused, smirked, then lowered his voice into a scratchy bubble tone. Or, "Are you trying to seduce me? Help. Where the hell did this guy get the confidence to think I'd like him? What is this, 1970? Am I supposed to be swooning over some sweaty meathead?" I cringed so hard I grew a triple chin. But he didn't notice. He just kept flaunting his bubble voice, then, he lifted his shirt to show off his six-pack. Surrounded by 7 or 8 cameramen, I suddenly understood why he came over. It wasn't about me at all. He wanted attention. Wanted my popularity. Fine. You want clout? I'll give you a headline. So I dropped the disgusted expression and leaned in with a faux shy smile. How'd you get abs like that? I whispered sweetly. He beamed. Weightlifting. Sparring. 4 hours a day, minimum. OMG, he's so hardworking. I'm obsessed. Heart. Love him 10,000 years. Ugh, I'm nose bleeding. His abs are god tier. His fans flooded the chat. Screenshots flew into fan forums. That clip was going viral. Too bad I wasn't buying it. Batting my lashes, I asked, you do martial arts too? So your body must be super resistant to pain, huh? Mind if I try? He hesitated. He knew I was up to no good, but after glancing at my slim build, he nodded. Even patted his abs, saying loudly, go ahead. Hit me. I wasn't trying to hurt him, so I only used about 60% strength. Still, the moment I punched him, he puked. He actually threw up. Watching him double over and spew out his breakfast, I nearly died from second-hand embarrassment. I stood frozen in place, wishing I could claw my way into Buckingham Palace and hide inside its walls. Did I hit too hard? I asked nervously. Should we go to the hospital? This was bad. Really bad. Did I rupture something? Was the production team going to make me pay for damages? He wiped his mouth, pale as a ghost. No. It's not your fault. I lifted weights this morning on an empty stomach, upset my gut, that's all. He saw me inch toward the crew van to call for help and quickly waved me off. It's not because of you. Seriously. Still, I was worried. He looked like a piece of paper, white, fragile, flimsy. Was he internally bleeding? Seeing how pale he looked, I reached out and tried to lift the hem of his shirt to check for injuries. To my surprise, he dodged. He actually dodged. I froze. That felt off. I wasn't trying to strip him, just take a look at his stomach. Why the sudden modesty? Unless he was hiding something? The more he avoided me, the more suspicious I became. Even the livestream audience picked up on it. His fans flooded my account, spamming the comments with insults and accusations. Shameless witch. How dare you touch him like that? Gross. Who even asks to see a guy's stomach? You're disgusting. But some viewers were starting to connect the dots. Weird, if he threw up, why isn't anyone checking on him? Why won't he go to the hospital? He's a grown man, why act so coy? It's just a stomach. There's nothing wrong with a checkup. This much secrecy? Definitely fishy. These more rational comments slowly began to take over, and even some of his fans calmed down, waiting to see what would happen next. Eventually, I found my chance, and yanked his shirt up. And in that moment, the cameraman, the livestream audience, and I all went dead silent. What we saw wasn't just unexpected, it was visually unforgettable. It hit us like a frying pan to the face. If awkwardness could be served for lunch, this was it. I looked up at him, face full of complicated emotions, and solemnly patted his shoulder. You've been through a lot, haven't you? Get away from me. His face darkened instantly as he shrieked, shoving me aside and squatting down to cover his face with both hands. Do you think it's easy maintaining a fit and shredded persona? Why'd you have to look at my stomach? Now great, all my fans are gone. You owe me. You owe me. I've made a lot of mistakes in life, but right then, my biggest regret was ever lifting Samuel's shirt. He snapped. Fully embracing the breakdown, he grabbed a bottle of water, poured it over himself, and began rubbing at his stomach like a madman, smearing away his six-pack contour makeup in one chaotic stroke. Just like that, his six-pack became one. Then he straightened up, fluttered his fingers in a flamboyant pose, and shouted at the cameras, "Screw this fitness boy crap. I like being slim and lanky, so what? Who said all men have to be bulky? Freedom of dress. Freedom of image. Long live the new age." And with that, he took off like a wild animal, joyfully sprinting away. 7 or 8 crew members chased after him, but couldn't catch up. I just stood there, wiping sweat off my brow, unsure how to even react. That outburst had so much to unpack, it'd keep the entire entertainment industry talking for days. I glanced over at the director, who was grinning from ear to ear, jiggling his belly as he danced a little samba, flashing me a victory sign like a proud stage mom. Dude. Do you want me to get assassinated? I've already wrecked 2 male guests. If I take down one more, someone's gonna climb up to my 32nd floor window in the night and shank me with a selfie stick. But this wasn't something I could control anymore. Just as I was wondering what fresh chaos awaited me next, 2 pairs of guests returned from filming. Their vibes were strange. The men were giggling and whispering like schoolboys. The women, on the other hand, had red faces and walked like they'd been struck by lightning, everyone staying far, far apart, as if a river had split them down the middle. And the moment the two female guests saw me, their eyes welled up. Nora, that little gremlin, shuffled toward me in tiny steps, looking up at me with pitiful eyes. Katie. She bit her lower lip. Am I heavy? Heavy? You? You're barely a feather. You're like a quail with legs. I rolled my eyes, fully allergic to her faux humble act. But she lit up like she'd been granted divine permission, puffed out her chest, pointed a finger, and yelled, Jordan said I was heavy. He said I was too fat to carry. At the giraffe sculpture, he said I was short and chubby. Her voice echoed through the tiny rest area, bouncing off the walls like a fire alarm. Normally, with her soft girl image, she'd suffer in silence when insulted like this. But today, something had changed. She ran straight to me for backup. She even dragged me by the wrist toward the male guests, in case I didn't know who Jordan was. Truth be told, Nora and I never got along. In the company, we were mortal enemies. But seeing her look up at me like a sad little duckling, asking for help, I couldn't say no. In fact, something possessive stirred in me, only I'm allowed to call her an idiot. Fueled by that feeling, I marched straight up to Jordan. He wasn't dumb. The moment he saw me stepping in, he flashed a polished, PR-approved smile. I never said she was fat, he said gently. I just told her not to eat so much. She had, 8 dumplings this morning. That's a lot. I was worried it would upset her stomach. I meant it in a caring way. No need to gang up on me. Then, he turned to Nora with a pitiful expression. Don't be upset. I said the wrong thing. Go on, hit me. The fake sympathy, the gentle tone, the I'm the victim here energy, it was textbook manipulation. Nora looked like she was about to cry. She tugged on my sleeve like a helpless puppy. I sighed and flicked her forehead. Where's all that fire you used to have when we'd scream at each other back at the office? Got eaten by a dog. He says you're fat and you just believe him? If words were that powerful, I'd be flapping my arms and flying to the sun. You're stuck in his logic trap. Let me show you how to break it. I folded my arms and raised my chin, staring Jordan dead in the eye. Guess what kind of shoes I'm wearing today? Flat shoes? Exactly. Flats. My natural height is 164 centimeters. Add 2 centimeters for the sole, 166, tops. And if I remember correctly, your official profile lists you at 178 centimeters. That's a 12 centimeters gap. I should be looking up at you. But look. I smirked and covered my mouth. Why does it feel like you've shrunk? You. That one hit home. Jordan leapt up, insisting he was definitely 178 and hadn't faked anything, even saying he'd take off his shoes and prove it right now. I gave him a frosty smile and replied, better take the socks off too. It's the 21st century, pal. Fake height hacks have evolved. And then, silence. Nora broke into a grin. Short king. And you thought you could bully me? Nora shot Jordan a look, then mockingly touched the top of her head. Oh my gosh, I'm 178 centimeters tall now. I guess I'm so tall. Jordan's eyes nearly rolled back into his skull from rage. He looked like he might faint on the spot. The atmosphere grew even more awkward, but only among the male guests. On the girls' side? We were laughing like it was a pajama party. Another female guest, encouraged by how hard I'd gone, ran over to join the fun. Hand on her hip and fire in her eyes, she pointed at another male guest, Bryce. Katie, him too. He made fun of me for eating and said I was too heavy to lift. Told me to lose weight. Fat? Me? I only eat lettuce and tomatoes for all 3 meals. I don't even dare touch salad dressing. And all he ever says is that I'm fat. He's infuriating. Exactly. Nora chimed in. My dumplings were kid-sized, half the size of normal ones. I only ate 8, and Jordan mocked me for it the entire way here. The two of them pouted and glared like cute little bunnies ready to fight. Even the live stream chat, for once, fully took the girls' side. Seriously? Those breakfasts looked tiny. Bird-sized portions. Why are the men calling them fat? 8 dumplings? I eat 20 in one sitting. Why is this even an issue? Nora nailed it. Short King Jordan lies about his height and then blames her for being too heavy to lift. Maybe look at your own strength first? Sorry, I was a Jordan fan, but this is gross. Who mocks a girl to her face for eating dumplings and then calls her fat? Dude, it's a dating show, not a roast battle. +1. Unfollowing immediately. The debate around body shaming caught fire. Viewers began sharing their own eating habits, collectively dragging the male guests for being both controlling and weak. And me? How did I clap back, live on set? Easy. Without hesitation, I turned, grabbed Nora, and lifted her straight into the air, spinning her in a full circle before tossing her gently upward. She screamed in surprise but quickly caught on and played along, laughing midair. Then I picked up the other girl, and did the same, spin and lift. Both of them giggled like schoolgirls. One even turned to the female camerawoman and called out, "Hey, your turn. How much do you weigh?" "110. She hesitated. But when she saw the director madly blinking at her from behind the camera, she came over. I picked her up, spun her around, lifted her high. Then I turned to the guys, sweat pouring down my face, and smirked. "Next. I'm 120 pounds. The director's assistant jumped in excitedly and sprinted toward me, flinging herself into my arms. I picked her up and spun her too, despite my arms already beginning to shake. All in all, I lifted 6 people in a row. Sweat was dripping. My arms were trembling. But I didn't drop a single person. Next to me, Nora tried to copy my moves and picked up one of the staff, but she didn't have my strength. She could only manage 3 before giving up. However, she did have me beat in style. She changed into 10 centimeters stilettos just for the occasion. And still lifted people. That was the final slap in the face. The 2 male guests looked like thunderclouds. Their faces were as black as burnt toast. Not a word came out of them. When we finally finished our impromptu lifting session, they tried to sneak away to avoid our taunts. As if that were even possible. Even the director wouldn't let them escape. The 3 of us glanced at each other, and in perfect sync, tossed our hair and shouted, "Little weaklings. Ha ha ha, I can't. Weak little chickens." Screenshot and saved. I'll be laughing about this for a year. Upload this now. I need to spam my entire WeChat contact list with this tonight. OMG, these guys are so weak. Had me thinking the girls were actually heavy. What a joke. Pathetic. I just tried lifting my roommate and it was easy. What's wrong with these men? The comment section lit up like New Year's fireworks. Laughter rolled in like waves. The director was laughing so hard he blew a snot bubble. When he looked at me again, it was with pure, unfiltered admiration. He made it clear, whatever happened, he was going to protect me. He single-handedly blocked multiple agency complaints just so I could keep filming in peace. With that chaos behind us, the rest of the day's events had to be postponed. No one could focus anymore. So the director made a new decision, move everything indoors. And because he wanted me to keep roasting people, he sneakily arranged a round of truth or dare. Too bad I'm not a clown who goes off for no reason. Everyone played safe, no one overstepped, and I had no reason to stir the pot. The male guests, after getting steamrolled back to back, didn't dare make a sound. Game after game passed peacefully. Eventually, it was my turn. I sipped some sparkling water and spun the bottle. It landed on me. The girls squealed with excitement. I gave a sheepish smile. "Truth. I've got one," someone shouted. "What kind of person do you want as a future partner?" Well, this was a dating show. And roasting people aside, I had to contribute something. So I answered, casually but clearly, height over 180 centimeters, looks at least an 8 out of 10. Degree from a top university. Annual income of over 5 million yuan. Knows how to cook and entertain, and is filial to my parents. I was smiling when I said it. But the male guests burst out laughing. Grayson jumped on the chance to mock me. "What are you doing, drafting a royal selection form? You might as well hop to another show, like Build a Boyfriend Workshop." It'd fit perfectly. Jordan followed up, voice dripping with sarcasm. "Katie, no offense, but your standards are way too high. A guy who meets all that? He could date anyone. Why would he choose you?" Then they booed me in unison. Their faces were full of disdain. Even viewers who had previously supported me turned cold. Does Katie really think she can ask for all that? I knew she was delusional. She was acting crazy earlier too. Hilarious. What a fantasy. Everyone was laughing at me. Everyone said I was dreaming. Their eyes were mocking, like I was some child playing pretend. But, was it really so impossible? I looked them straight in the eyes and asked, "Why is it a fantasy? Why do you say I don't deserve it? Every one of those qualities, aside from height, I already meet. If I can achieve it, why can't my partner? You say I'm not worthy, so what am I worthy of, then? Guys with beer guts and greasy faces who joke about women for fun? Guys who can't cook and spend their days gaslighting women? Please, let's be real. What you call unrealistic is actually just an attempt to guilt successful women into lowering their standards, so you can gain control over who they choose. But a toad is still a toad. Stick some feathers on it, and it's still just a toad." I raised my glass of sparkling water with a smile. "If every man in this world were like you, I'd rather stay single for life. I'm allergic to trash. And another thing." I turned to glance at a few of the female guests, who looked like they were deep in thought. Stop blindly following the crowd. Just because someone leads the conversation, doesn't mean they're worth following. When every man says, "At least I don't cheat or hit my wife," and thinks that qualifies as being a responsible partner, has it never occurred to them that those are just the absolute bare minimums of a marriage? People love to lower the bar for themselves while raising it for others. It's a universal flaw. Don't let yourself get dragged into that. Or one day, you'll be sold out and still help count the money for the person who sold you. Whether or not my words had any long-term impact, I couldn't say. But one thing was clear, I was now officially famous. These past few days, offers had poured in. Variety shows, endorsements, even major agencies were throwing olive branches at me. But I had no interest in staying in this industry. From the moment I joined this dating show, I'd already decided, once it's over, I'm done. No second thoughts. If you don't have the power to fight the big shots, don't wade into muddy waters. If you don't want to be forced into hotel rooms, turn back now. I've already earned more than most people do in a decade of hard work. That's enough for me. So I turned everyone down. Still, it wasn't like I left empty-handed. At the very least, the other female guests now treated me a lot differently. Somehow, they'd morphed into little chicks, crowding around me like I was their mama hen. Wherever I went, they followed. I half suspected they wanted to shower in the same tub as me. I understood their attachment, but ladies, please. Can we not guard the bathroom door when I'm on the toilet? I promise I'm not going to escape with my pants down. Just a bit of privacy? Please? Honestly, I was starting to panic. And I had a feeling the male guests saw me the same way. They all hated me, deeply. But since I had backup now, none of them dared touch me. Their new strategy was to toss passive-aggressive remarks my way whenever they got a chance, completely disregarding their previous nice guy image. Outside the show, the public had already stopped calling this a dating program. It was now known as a battlefield of verbal warfare. At least one person's public image crashed every day. But the ratings? Sky high. No one wanted to leave. Even Samuel, who I exposed as a closet diva, refused to quit. Like a pig that didn't fear boiling water, he clung to the show shamelessly. Except now, he no longer sat with the male guests. He joined our table. Neither side said anything about it. They all just watched, stunned, as Samuel expertly highlighted his cheekbones and applied eyeshadow. No one dared utter more than 4 words. Except for me. Because I was the one who felt guilty. Samuel truly despised me, and probably wanted to kick me into a ravine. So I spent every day sneaking peeks at what he was doing, full of remorse. But guilt or not, when it's time to throw shade, I throw it. Like his obsession with those double-door fridge Korean webcomic guys? I had thoughts. How deprived does your taste have to be to fall for some silicone-skinned robot? Time to unleash my 1024 terabyte mental archive and enlighten him. After I generously shared my top picks, Samuel's opinion of me skyrocketed. He officially adopted me as his long-lost soul sister. Now we shared everything. With a new addition to our girl gang, some game segments naturally had to be scrapped. But by now, the director had grown tired of cheesy games anyway. So with a dramatic wave of his hand, he announced something more exciting, a pool party. All male and female guests were invited. Naturally, pools meant swimsuits. And swimsuits meant competition. But not with us. Our girl group was as serene as a convent full of nuns. We may be on a dating show, but our vibes were pure asceticism. We had no interest in putting on a show. So that day, we all wore basic one-piece swimsuits. Lucy and Nora, who had weaker constitutions, even wore jackets to keep warm. This low-key look? The male guests were not happy. They'd shown up early to the pool, clearly hoping to enjoy the view. What they got was a lineup of conservative, covered-up women. Not a sliver of skin on display. We might as well have been wearing lounge clothes. They were furious. All the frustration and resentment they'd been bottling up exploded. One of the rappers even stormed off and shouted that he was quitting the show. The director ran after him and asked why. His answer? The girls aren't cooperating. Not cooperating? Nora, now fully transformed, snapped. You wanted us in skimpy bikinis, just say it. What's the point of pretending otherwise? And you call that not cooperating? Who the hell do you think you are? What we wear is our choice. We're not dressing for you. Get over yourself. What's next? You want to be the first man on the moon. You joined this dating show for what, then? You refuse to respect boundaries, won't accept rejection. What kind of relationship is that supposed to be? Cornered and speechless, the rapper had nothing to say. That's when Bryce, yes, the same Bryce who'd clashed with me earlier, spoke up. You're the ones who said you wanted to date. Now you're being all weird and standoffish. If you don't want to be here, then leave. Don't act like we forced you. You took a high-paying job. Do the job. Basic work ethic, do I need to teach it to you? Whoa, 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 Samuel interrupted, frowning. You're going too far. Let's cool it. But neither side listened. Bryce turned to Samuel and sneered. Typical. Switch camps, forget your own gender. Can't even keep track of what you are. Why not just fly to Thailand and get the surgery already? Might save you some confusion. His jab was precise and nasty. Samuel was so furious, he couldn't speak. Lucy picked up the baton. What, ran out of insults so now you're punching down? Pathetic. And what, your idea of a dating show is built entirely on exploiting our boundaries. Are you even hearing yourself? Where in our contracts does it say we're not allowed to dress like this? Where does it say we have to accept any request, no matter how inappropriate? You're acting like we're overpaid. If anything, it's you who's underpaid. And while we're at it, why don't you show up in a thong next time? We'd love to watch. And if you don't? I'm going on strike. See who's really scared. Lucy finished with an epic eye roll so hard, I swear her eyeballs nearly did a backflip. The tension on set was suffocating. Neither side was backing down. Even the livestream chat exploded into chaos. Viewers were divided, loudly debating two main issues. 1. Should highly paid celebrities have the right to dress conservatively? 2. Is showing your body something to be ashamed of? These actresses are so fake. They're making big money, what's wrong with showing some skin? If I got paid like that, I'd strip down in a heartbeat. What a load of crap. This is a live broadcast. One slip up and they'd be crucified. They're women. The scrutiny on them is already brutal. Ugh, it's 2025. Stop being so uptight. Women sunbathe naked in Europe all the time. Nobody bats an eye. You people are the problem. How about we get one thing straight first, this is China. Whatever openness foreigners have stems from their own religion, history, and cultural traditions. It's not the same thing. Stop lumping them together. As a woman, I fully support the female guests' right to choose what they wear. It's called freedom. They're dressing however they feel comfortable. Even the director didn't say anything, so why are these men, upset just because they didn't get to see some skin, acting like entitled pigs? Disgusting. Bullet comments flooded the screen so densely, you couldn't see a single gap. The director pondered for a moment, then turned his gaze to me, who had remained silent the entire time. Following his lead, the female guests also looked toward me. Meanwhile, all the male guests had their eyes trained on Grayson. The two of us stepped forward simultaneously, preparing to speak on behalf of our respective sides. As expected of a nearly 40-year-old movie emperor, Grayson was smooth as silk. He started by name-dropping Nora, the walking firecracker, and brought up how she'd once done a bathtub photo shoot for a magazine. Then he moved on to Lucy, noting that her breakout role had been playing a sultry courtesan. He said a lot. Every word was polished and evocative, painting a picture dripping in sensuality. By the time he was done, the female guests were pale-faced, some even on the verge of tears. The male guests? Silent. Shifty-eyed. Snickering as if they were evaluating a menu. Watching this scene, I couldn't help but laugh. The more Grayson spoke, the louder I laughed, until I was hiccuping. That laughter made it impossible for him to keep talking. Soon enough, Grayson wrapped up his dry monologue and stood tall, ready for my rebuttal. But I didn't have a speech prepared. I simply glanced over at the men behind him and then, in a soft and calm voice, said, I once heard a saying, when you can't find a real flaw in someone, you create one rooted in sexuality. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. If they get angry, you've won. That suits you perfectly. Because that's exactly the kind of scum you are, the type who, when unable to fault a woman's character, turns the topic to smut in an attempt to discredit her. You said we've played sexy roles and shown skin for our work, yet refused to show anything on the show. But did it occur to you that those were our jobs? Our craft? We poured our effort into them, and did them well. Shouldn't that be something to respect, not weaponize? Just how narrow-minded and shallow do you have to be to only see that side of us? Or are you just so impotently angry that this is the only low-hanging fruit you can grab onto? How pathetic. Seriously, that's your whole argument? I clapped lightly and turned to the girls. Ladies, why don't we remind these sleazeballs of everything else we've done? I've played a doctor, a white-collar office worker, even a forensic investigator in ancient times. In 2003, I portrayed a woman with Parkinson's. To prepare, I lived with a patient for an entire month, ate what she ate, slept how she slept, just to understand her struggle. And in 2004, female soldier, war journalist, woman battling depression, general. I played a sign language teacher, a stay-at-home mom, and we all started listing off roles, fingers counting one by one. It didn't matter whether those roles had been hits or flops, what mattered was that every single one of us had worked hard. None of us had ever boxed ourselves into a mold. And none of us were what Grayson implied, women defined solely by sexuality. Sure, some actresses got their start in provocative roles. But they proved themselves through their work. Did Grayson really not know that? Of course he did. He'd listed those roles without hesitation. He just chose to pretend otherwise. Just like some men in society who refuse to admit that women might be better than them. When they fall short, they blame luck. Or make excuses. And when all else fails, they throw tantrums, claiming women slept their way to success. There are plenty of men like that. But also many good men. The loud ones just tend to drown out the decent ones. I didn't bother looking at the smug expressions on the guys' faces anymore. Throwing a tantrum and threatening to quit just made them look cheap. If they had any guts, they'd break their contracts and leave, take the penalty and go. As if anyone would beg them to stay. The director shared the same sentiment. Sure, he was a shrewd businessman. A shameless one, even. But he was also one of the most famously wife-loving men in the industry. One call from his wife was all it took. He slammed shut the script and told the male guests, if you want to act, act. If not, take the loss and leave. I'm done coddling you. No room for negotiation. When asked why, he simply said, my wife saw the live stream. She was furious. I can't stand seeing her upset. So I'm not wasting time with you boys anymore. Want to leave? The door's wide open. The male guests, used to being pampered, couldn't handle that. They stormed off, declaring they wouldn't stand for such disrespect. What they didn't know, because they hadn't brought their phones to the pool party, was how viciously the internet was tearing into them. The very same fans who once cried, my sweet prince, were now leading the charge, eager to roast them alive. Was objectifying women supposed to come without consequences? What awaited them was easy to imagine, but with them gone, the atmosphere among the female guests lightened considerably. Yes, we'd bickered. We'd clashed. But we'd also laughed together. Supported each other. Standing hand in hand by the pool, cheering and laughing under the sun. That was a memory I'd cherish forever. Even years after I leave this industry, I'll smile whenever I think of that day. Girls are such treasures. And I mean every word.